Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757, where we discuss real estate,
culture, and current events.
Hi, good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sophia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
It's
A little
good.
stuffy, but I'm good.
Yeah, that weather dropped out there today, man.
It did. Past 2 days, actually.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. It's crazy. I looked at the weather. It's supposed to get back warm, though. Like
Saturday?
Yeah, like coming into the weekend and next week, I think Monday or Tuesday, I think it's supposed to be like 88.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so.
This bipolar weather.
Yeah, the summer's still trying to.
Reminds me of somebody I know.
Yeah. The summer's still trying to fight.
Yeah.
You know, trying to fight to get through.
I don't mind it, though. One thing I can't stand Halloween and it being cold that night. Like,
Really?
I don't like it. I don't like for it to be cold. I like for it to be maybe like low 70s, like, and
For Halloween?
yeah.
I just picture Halloween. I mean, Halloween to me has always been like that the first holiday of the season that kind of kicks in the cold weather. So yeah, I don't really care for Halloween to be.
I'm not saying I want it to be hot, but I don't want it to be cold either. I don't want the need of having gloves and a hat. And once it gets pretty cool outside, I mean,
Yeah.
You want to have something to bring yourself up.
Yeah.
And I like, and then also, the costumes, like they have really warm ones and they have some really thin ones too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just prefer it that way.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my friend. I was like, man, I miss being at the beach on Christmas. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like being on the beach. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I've never been on the beach at Christmas. I know last year we had Thanksgiving, so we went down to the Outer Banks, stayed at our house down there, had the family, everybody come down. So that was pretty cool. Like, during Thanksgiving, be kind of on the beach, I guess you can say in a sense. But I've never experienced Christmas trying to think on the beach or in the beach. I mean, obviously being here at Virginia Beach, I think we're, close to a beach, but never actually like experienced it living at a beach during that time. It would be pretty cool.
It is. It really is. Me and Maya used to go every year for Christmas or hang out by the pool.
Yeah, I remember.
It's different. It didn't even feel like Christmas, I feel like with Christmas.
But that's why, I guess, for me, that's why I wanted to feel like Christmas. So, like, I feel like the weather being really warm and hot during Christmas would, I don't know, it wouldn't feel as Christmassy, I guess. That's kind of how I feel with, like I was saying, with Halloween, too. I guess, like, to me, I always, I remember growing up trick-or-treating, like you said, costumes, dressing up, parents with hot chocolate. And obviously now I'm, a parent now, so like walking around with hot chocolate as a kid trick-or-treating. I can't imagine like walking around like shorts, for Halloween. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I feel it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So what's been going on with you? I was there your last week. What did you do this past weekend, I guess, up until today?
Let's see. Went to the orthodontist. My daughter had homecoming.
Okay. How was that?
I think it was good. Yeah. But as far as getting her ready, it was hectic. Getting a girl ready for a dance is not fun at all. But I think that she had a lot of fun. And she's on like the board that does the setup for it.
Okay.
So she had to do a lot of work when it came to that. So yeah, it was nice. She looked pretty. She really
Is she competing for like homecoming?
No, she said next year she'll do that. She didn't want to do any of that this year. She just wanted to go and enjoy herself. And then she ended up going to one of the high school rivalry games, which that ended up becoming hectic. So I had to go pick her up early from that. But
what happened? We didn't have game hectic.
Just kids being kids, teenagers being teenagers. You know what I mean. When you was a teenager, you went to Tallwood.
I did.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I played though, so I guess it's a little different, on the field versus like
in the stands. Yeah. So have you ever did you ever used to hear about what happened? Like,
oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, like with rivalry games, I would hear about people.
You obviously can see in the stands like the way it goes is kind of like, even if you're in the game, there's a point where you're not in the game, right? Even if you're on the sideline, you can hear the commotion.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess football is different. See, basketball, like, yeah, I can hear that because, I'm right there. But football, you're on the field. I'm locked into the game plays. So even if stuff happened, like I remember there would be times when I played, like they would tell me, oh, so and so got in a fight in the game. Like obviously I'm in the game paying attention to all that. To me, it's a little bit further removed. So I didn't really see or hear what was going on. Like I'll hear stories about it when we were back at school.
Yeah.
But like as far as actually like when it was going on, I never really saw or heard about anything, when it came to football. But basketball, I definitely did, because it was, you're right there, on the court. You can see people in the bleachers, you can see it right there. So
yeah.
So
yeah, that was pretty much it. And I just relaxed on Sunday. I was gonna go out, and I was so tired. I just said I'm gonna chill out. Then we had that event at the office with what's the name? Holloway?
Oh yeah, that was last Thursday. Yeah.
I wanted to say Callaway for some reason. I don't know why.
Callaway, that's actually a golf brand. That's my my golf clubs are Callaway gloves.
Okay. All right.
That's like my favorite golf brand, I guess. My hat's Callaway. All my clubs are Callaway. My shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, my shirts are all Callaway as well. Nike. I got Nike shoes.
Okay.
I got Nike shoes. But I actually do have Callaway shoes, but I don't like them, so I end up buying some Nike ones.
Okay. Callaway reads up the A-Run.
Yeah. When it comes to the shoes, anyway. Yeah. They look old school. They're very archaic, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think you're like maybe somebody about 60 and up will wear those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got some ones that look kind of modern, but how sometimes they try, but they were unsuccessful with trying to be looking like how it is up now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What about you? What you got going on?
Let me see. Past weekend, what did I do? Friday. Shit, I can't remember what I did Friday, man. Something like a blur. But this weekend, my son had a game, which was good. They won. He scored again. He was extremely happy about that. We finally went to Greenbrier Farms and went. I
did that too. I went to my son's field trip at Hickory Ridge.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we
How was that?
Yeah, Saturday was cool. So right after the game, we literally left from there, went to get pumpkins. So it was really, really cool. We were only there for like an hour. So the kids, because I had to go somewhere after that, but they want to go back with me, and I'm trying to go back maybe again this weekend. But it was cool. Like we, the kids played games, picked out pumpkins, got kettle corn, rode like the hayride and all that. So it was cool. It was really, really cool. We had a good time there. Then my buddy Sherm, his birthday was Saturday, so we went and played golf. That's why I had to go and leave. We went and play golf actually on the border. We went down to North Carolina and Moyock and played at Eagle Creek. And that was pretty cool. It was my first time playing at that course.
Is it nice?
It's all right. I mean, I feel like
you're not going back.
Yeah, I feel like it's not worth it. Like there's so many better courses around here. Even Greenbrier, where I'm a member at, is much better than there. But it was cool to just experience something different. You know what I mean? That was something that he picked that he wanted to go to. It was his birthday, so we did it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. That was most of Saturday. Then my wife, she actually got really sick when I came home that day. She was saying she wasn't feeling the greatest, and the next morning, ended up going to the doctor and finding out that she had pneumonia. Which is tough. So, I was supposed to be in New Jersey this week. We have a sales summit, a mortgage sales summit up in Atlantic City that I was supposed to be there from Monday to Thursday. And I actually did not end up going because of her not feeling well and her obviously being diagnosed with pneumonia. So, around the house it was a little different. Obviously I had to step up and do a lot more than what I'm normally, tasked to do. But, it is what it is when it comes to that. But yeah, it was cool. Like other than that, let me see. I played golf with my son on Monday because the kids were out of school. I think it was Columbus Day, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So they were out of school on Monday. So I ended up taking him to play golf because we normally play on Sundays, but he was, with his mom not feeling well, we couldn't play. And he was really bummed out. He was crying and everything. Like, Daddy, I want to play still. I'm like, man, your mom, you see she's sick. And so he was like, well, so I ended up working out where we ended up playing on Monday. So, he was excited about that. But yeah, outside of that, let me see what else I do this week. This work, man, I got a whole bunch of loans closing here in the next week and a half. I'm excited. The person who's purchasing the Virginia Beach house that we have was listed for sale. It's under contract. They're closing tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. What else? I'm trying to think. played golf again yesterday with a buddy of mine, which was pretty cool. We had a good time. It was cold out there, so it was my first time playing golf this season with it being like cold.
I was watching something on TV, and this lady was golfing, and she had like a hat with gloves and everything on. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Golf is already pretty slow, and then you just kind of standing there waiting your turn.
Yeah. But now, see, the thing is though, the people, if you're watching on TV, they're walking, and so I mean, that's no different. Like you be exercising, you walking outside too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of the same type of situation. Just for that moment of when you're getting ready to hit the ball, you're standing still. But outside of that, I mean, you're doing a lot of walking. Like the golf, like when we play is, I normally get a rent a golf cart like when you're playing, right? But you can also be a walker. And that's something I'm actually going to start doing is like now that the weather's changing, it's just another way to get in more exercise because you already do a lot of walking and golfing anyway. But if you just exclude taking out the golf cart and just walk the whole time, I mean, you walk like 4 or 5 miles when you play a full 18 holes of golf. So that was something me and my buddy was talking about yesterday. We were talking about, getting some walkers and just actually walking the course instead of actually doing a golf cart.
So are you going to get a caddy? Was that what they call it?
Caddy.
Person?
Yeah, no.
Like
So
an
actual walker is pretty cool. It's like it's I have to show you it. We'll probably post a picture of it what a walker is, but it's you set your golf clubs up on it and you push it while you're walking. And then when you get to your ball, you just park it, you set it up, and then you hit the ball and then you just continue to do it. So you're actually getting like exercise by just walking the whole course like that. So there's no caddy, no person that's really helping you like that. Really, honestly, they don't have caddies unless you're like a really like expensive like golf course. You know what I mean? That comes with the cost of playing at that particular golf course. But yeah, the one here at Greenbrier, when I have a membership at, they don't have caddies, if I'm mistaken. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was pretty much my week. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that came up? Yeah, just been nursing Brooke, and then like I said, just kids, getting them to their activities and doing, all those things with them. My son, he's excited because this Saturday is his last football game, so we're like really practicing really, really hard, like we did up that last night, because he's looking at it as his championship game. So he's really, really excited about that. He's taken on the lead role as being the captain of the team this year. So he leads them in exercises, and he's like, yeah, I got to make sure everybody plays well. And I got to do this. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's funny seeing him do that. And it's pretty cool. So he's really excited about it. He was talking about it this morning as well. So love him.
That's cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds like you had a good weekend. Busy.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. So what's been going on in mortgage?
Mortgage wise, I'm talking to a couple people this morning, keep asking me about, rates and things of that nature. Rates really haven't gotten better really since the Fed made that announcement for the 0.5 point reduction. I know a lot of
people. And technically it didn't get better then.
Yeah.
It was before that the mortgage rates were better. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So I've been having that conversation a lot with a lot of people. I was talking to this woman today, her and her husband want to see this house. I'll show you. It's really, really nice in Virginia Beach. And it's $1.3 million. It's right there in the north end. And so look at this one. See, good those pictures out. But I was talking to her because it's funny, her and her husband came to me.
Like an apartment complex.
He said, "Oh, it looks like an apartment." Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's got 2 balconies. It look like
it's nice. It's really nice. Look at the pictures inside too. The inside pictures are dope. Kind of got like some character, but also like some modern touch. I think it's pretty dope. But I've been talking to her because her and her husband came to me earlier this year. They wanted to buy a house, and we actually got on the contract on a house for them, but the home inspection didn't go well. So now they're back out there, and they've been like, since the beginning, they were like, hey, we want rates to get lower, hopefully around, later this year. And so now they popped back up and they seen this house and they fell in love with it. And they're potentially wanting to do an offer, but they've like been wanting numbers like, hey, what if I do this? What if I do that? What if I put 1.2 versus 1.25, 1.1 versus this? They've just been asking a whole bunch of questions about it. So we'll see. But the conversation I had with them is that they were under the impression that when the Fed did their 0.5% rate cut, that was the mortgage rate cut, being 0.5%. And I would have that conversation, which I know you've had that conversation with a lot of folks as well, that 0.5%, that was not dealing with the mortgage rates. That was the Federal Reserve rate. Really, we saw the impact as far as rates going lower right before that. Really, since then, rates have actually went up a little bit. And so just, make sure I'm having those conversations with folks because I feel like a lot of times people just don't understand, what that is and the difference and all that or whatever. So, but yeah, having conversations about mortgage rates. I got a person that I was working with as well. We do a lot of FHA loans, because we know Sophia and I help a lot of first-time home buyers. So typically if a person is a first-time home buyer and they're not military, so that means they don't have any VA eligibility, a lot of times with, the programs that's best suited for them between FHA and conventional, a lot of times FHA is the better route because of the
interest rate.
Interest to be better. And then now when they reduced their mortgage insurance a couple of years ago, they're now sometimes depending on a person's credit, mortgage insurance is cheaper on FHA.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So the only disadvantage is that mortgage insurance premium that's on the front of your loan. But because of those other benefits, it kind of, comes with just doing it really.
Yeah.
So, speaking to one of our colleagues about FHA loans and how the student loans are viewed with FHA loans, they've made a lot of changes, I know, over the years of how they look at it. Yeah. I remember when I first got in the business, whatever the payment said that you had, that's what it was. So like if you owe $200,000 in student loans and let's say you didn't have any payment for your student loans, then we didn't care about it. And so that what would happen with that situation is when people started to make their payments for student loans, after the fact, after maybe they've already bought a home, there was such payment shock because we qualified you off of a zero payment versus, let's say, after you come out of whatever the period is, if you're in school or whatnot, you're, trying to be a doctor or a lawyer, now you have to start making your student payments. So let's say they're $500,000, $600,000, $800,000, you're now having to absorb that payment. And we didn't account for when we qualified it. So maybe if you bought a house at the top of your budget, now you have this new $1,000 payment. You're not going to be able to afford that, right? So they've made different corrections over the years. At first for FHA, they used to use where you had to use 1%. So whatever the balance was of your student loan. So if you owed $100,000 in your student loans, then we had to utilize $1,000 a month against your debt to income to account for what a possible student loan payment would be. Now, what they've done is they've changed it a couple of years ago where we use 0.5%, right? And so sometimes there's confusion because conventional guidelines and how conventional looks at student loans is different from FHA and even different from VA. They all three have different ways of viewing it.
Right.
And so I'm just having a conversation with our colleagues about FHA and how it's viewed and how, even though a person may be on an income driven plan, right, we still are going to use 0.5% when it comes to that scenario.
Absolutely.
There's really not a way where we can use $0 because that's what the situation was. The person had an income-driven plan. I think she was a teacher, if I'm not mistaken, is what he said. And so she didn't have any, because of her income-driven plan, her payment was $0 a month. But we couldn't qualify her just using zero. We had to use 0.5%.
Right.
And that's like the standard when it comes to FHA. And so just I wanted to have that conversation here on the podcast, just make sure folks understand.
It's important.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you may qualify only for an FHA loan. And so we have to adhere to the guidelines of what FHA is. Now, obviously, we have, options.
Flexibility.
Yeah, we may be able to look at, we may be able to look at what conventional is and FHA. And then, because of your, situation, if your student loan situation, allows you to buy more because we go conventional versus FHA, then, we can explore those things. But, if you're strictly qualifying for FHA, then that's how FHA views student loans.
Yeah. It's funny because I just had someone reach out to me and their credit score is, let's say, a 620.
Okay.
Right. So unfortunately, when your credit score is 620, you're limited as to what you can qualify for. Right?
Yep.
And they were like, well, how can I get my rate down to a 5%?
Wow. So we go back at the time machine.
That's the perfect answer.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we're going to need God himself to come down here and give you that rate.
That is a fact. Yeah.
Because it ain't happening today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that's another point I can bring up too. There's another conversation I've had recently is, there are people in the position who can buy the rate down, right?
Right.
And so
there's a cap.
There's a floor.
I've actually, had that conversation this week as well. Like, hey, there's, high price mortgage.
Correct.
So there's
there's only a certain amount of money that you can buy down the rate, where the mortgage is now considered a high price mortgage. And so, I've had that conversation with folks as well who like maybe they have the ability to spend a lot of money to buy the rate down so the payment is, at a point where they want to be.
Right.
But, it only allows you to go because of that, they don't allow your rate to go to a certain amount. So, we got to be cognizant of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had saw Nailnet while we were talking about student loans. I saw Nailnet in the news here recently, and I was trying to find an article, but I couldn't find it. But they, they're doing something going on with Nailnet. So I'm hoping that
that's student loans, right?
Yeah.
Nailnet, okay. Right.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that whatever's going on, they, the government just says we're gonna forgive all those loans.
Oh, man, you got student loans still?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Were you a part of the? I guess, did you get any type of impact when it came to like all the different things that have been coming out with student loans?
No.
I've been seeing so much. I don't have student loans anymore. So, when I see that stuff, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other.
No.
But yeah, I was just curious.
Assistance, no help, no forgiveness, no nothing.
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't qualify.
Are you like making your student loan payments though, or like are you like in a income driven thing?
No, I'm not in the income driven payment. So what happened was that the government had pretty much placed a stop during COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
And so pre-COVID, I had applied for, I think, not deferment. There's another one. Forbearance.
Forbearance, yeah.
I think it's forbearance, right? And they paused that, right? Mm-hmm. And then whatever they did for COVID, that kicked in, right? For a few years.
Gotcha.
Then when COVID ended, they pretty much tacked on what I had applied for after. But then Biden came in and did something, and then they stopped it again.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I was supposed to start making payments like a year ago.
Yeah.
And so I called, and I was like, hey, what is going on? They were like, oh, because whatever's going on with the government, they're stopped again. And I was like, say no more. Sorry I called.
You asked no more questions, right?
It's okay. I went in, looked at it, it said 0 payments till 2025. I said, amen.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. Because I feel like, I think we talked about on the last podcast, how there's two different type of people, right?
Right.
So when it comes to like you owing money to an entity like that, right? If they're not asking you for payment, are you going to go search for them to go pay them?
No,
or
not for student loans.
Not for student loans, okay.
Yeah, everything else, yeah. Student loans, shit.
The student loans is the only one.
Find me.
You said find you. So student loans, they're over here, but like
everything else is, I pay everything. Yeah, I'm paying back. I ain't asking nobody to borrow nothing, but if I do.
Well, what about this? What if you had I'm an investor, right? So I build houses. I know you're an investor too. So I remember that I had this horrible experience with this survey company, right?
Okay.
So I'm trying to build this house and I'm dealing with this survey company. The only reason I'm dealing with, I normally I have how people know, once you're in the game, you have your people you work with, right? So I have a certain survey company that I typically use. But in this scenario, the house I bought already had a preliminary survey on it. So that means that survey company had already went out there and started the work.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, I can go ahead, instead of starting over, I can go ahead and just pick up with the company who's already been working on it, right? I'd save money and save time, right? Because that's what it's all about, time and money. So I used the survey company and they were horrible. I mean, they gave me every excuse in the book of why they couldn't give me the finalized survey, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was like people had COVID. It was just so many, I can't remember all the excuses. So I kept popping up to the office like, hey, I need to talk to somebody, and it was always reasons of why they couldn't give me this survey, which normally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to turn around. It ended up taking me almost 8 months, right? Yeah, I'm not exaggerating at all. So, long story short, because of this, the bill for it became a lot, right? Because the way survey companies typically do, they charge you by the hour, how long it took them to work on it. And so the bill on a survey normally is around maybe, for that type of work, maybe $1,500 or whatever. This would end up being $5,000, right? So,
why was it $5,000?
because of the amount of like edits and time that they had to take on doing it, right? Which it shouldn't have taken that long, but again, like I said, because of their negligence, I mean, that's how long it took. So for me, I was like, all right. And then they said they were going to build me, right? But they never did. And so my conscience, my good conscience was like, to reach out to them like, hey, because I like to try to clear everything off the books, move on and be done with it. But my other conscience is like, yo, they was doing like, they did terrible business. I'm not going to go chase them down to give them money. You know what I'm saying? So how would you handle that situation? So I didn't go down there. I didn't go chase them down to give them money at all. You know what I mean? Because I felt like the experience was horrible and they didn't deliver at all on what they were supposed to be doing. So that's why I was saying earlier, as far as like, I know that's a little different in student loans, but like when you're doing business with somebody and they're supposed to like send you an invoice or whatever and they don't do it and they do terrible business, like I'm not going to go chase you down to go pay you. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel guilty when I do it. Like if something like that happened to me, I would feel guilty. But I know that for me, I'm a very direct person. So we would have negotiated a lower price from the get-go. You would have billed me $5,000. The bill would have been $1,500, the original cost. And then maybe I would have chased,
again, I understand that. What if that's not the case?
I don't know.
What if it's a situation where
I feel bad like for stuff like that. So
what if the bill was $1,500? They never sent you the bill. It don't matter about the money, just about the experience itself.
I probably wouldn't chase them down, but if they did finally reach out, I would.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, if they reach out, I'm just talking about like, are you going to make the effort to say, hey, you never sent me that invoice?
No.
I'm not going to do that.
No, right now.
That's how I am.
Y'all can say I'm mean. Y'all can say I'm mean or say. Y'all can say I'm mean. Do you feel bad though?
Not at all.
Oh, see, I would feel bad.
What?
I would feel bad.
No.
I would. I would feel bad. No. Not saying I would definitely not chase.
I'm actually surprised. Knowing you, I'm surprised that you feel that way.
Yeah, I would feel bad. I would.
What would you feel bad? What do you feel bad about? Because they made you feel bad for that long.
I think about the karma behind it, right? I wouldn't want them to like, oh, they didn't pay and they figure it out and then they go force lien on something, and I don't know about it. And then now I'm stuck paying that plus whatever penalties for not knowing.
Yeah. See, I think the thing is, a lot of times what I've learned, I guess it could be different in different industries, right? What I've learned in the construction industry is that people, when they do dirt or do wrong or do you dirty, they're not going to come chase after you because they know they don't want to deal with you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so I was a nuisance to them for them just to get the job done of what they were supposed to do, what they were supposed to deliver on, right? So once they finally delivered the job, they didn't want to mess with me no more. So I was persistent in like, hey, I need this. Like, why haven't this? Why I think they kept giving me all these excuses. So in my way, the karma in that sense was like, hey, I got it on the house because you didn't deliver in the manner that you were supposed to. And then you also, gave me a horrible experience, delayed everything, had me get a lot of extra costs in other areas because of what you did. Because I can't go to the next part without you doing your part.
That is
true. Know what I mean? So I look at it as like karma the other way. Like, yo, because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, this now costs me money in all these other areas. So that $1,500, you're not asking me that for more because you know you're wrong and you don't want to, come back and talk to me no more.
Yeah, see, I would need somebody to like talk to, like how you talking. I would need somebody to like bounce that idea with because by myself I would feel bad.
Gotcha.
But if I had somebody to to talk to me back and forth, like that might be wrong with it. Yeah, then maybe I would feel bad. But because listening to you talk is like because I feel right.
Because I feel like right. Because I feel like I said, no, I feel like you would be like, yo. Like,
I'd have been pissed from the beginning.
Yeah, and then they say, hey, you got to pay X amount of dollars. I feel like
I'd have been like, no.
That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the same type of thing.
But
you know
the difference is that it wouldn't have got to a $5,000 bill.
Again, I'm not even talking about $5,000. I'm talking about just the original amount. Let's say the original amount was $1,500. Right?
Yeah, I would have been like, no, I ain't paying that. You gonna comp this something, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like knowing you and knowing the conversation I've had.
Like it would have been known on both sides that Sophia ain't paying for nothing.
Gotcha.
Ultimately, right? Before you even had to chase me down. Like, you gonna comp this.
Understood.
For the negligence.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah, but jumping back into mortgage related things, another thing that I see is that I've had conversations with about this week is disputes. So I know a lot of times.
Oh yeah, I've had that actually just recently come up in the last couple weeks. I had a person that had some disputes on the credit report.
Yeah,
and I asked them to remove the disputes, but the issue was that the condition was placed, but it wasn't sent.
And
yeah.
So. Yeah. I know that's a lot of times. I know there's a lot of different credit repair companies out there that, that's one way they attack trying to help people, increase their credit score is disputing items on their credit. And what happens though is when you have active disputes and you're trying to buy a home, depending on the loan program, sometimes that can enable you from being able to move forward with buying a home, right? And so, because what happens is when you dispute an account or when on your credit report it shows there's an account that's in active dispute, you're not really receiving the full derogatory or negative impact of whatever that creditor account is, right?
It's pretty much placing a pause on reporting on that debt.
Exactly, because it's under investigation at that time, right?
Correct.
So if you got let's say, I don't know, you have I know we're, notorious for Cox Cable down here, right here in Hampton Roads.
Oh, I hate
so let's say you got Cox Cable and you had a collection that fell, you had an account that fell into collection, and now Cox saying because you didn't turn in your equipment or whatever, you moved or whatever, you now owe $700, right? If you have an account, let's say you say, hey man, I don't agree with that, right? I don't feel like I should pay that. And you dispute that account, it'll show up on your credit report as a collection, but you'll see it also say that it's in dispute. So what happens is that $700 in derogatory or in the collection status, it's not going to have a negative impact on you because it's saying that the credit reporting agency is going to be investigating who's at fault and who, if you really deserve or if you really, are required to pay that amount.
Right.
So when you're buying a house, what happens? We want to make sure you don't have any accounts really in dispute because, the way it's looked at is like, hey, if you have an account in dispute, there's unfinished business between you and that creditor. And, they can place a lien against the property or they can come after you or whatever. And so we want to make sure that all that stuff's cleared up because I've even seen situations where, I'm trying to pre-approve somebody and they have accounts in disputes and their credit score shows one thing. And then once they get those disputes removed, then their credit score drops because of, it not having a negative. Yeah. I mean, it's one of them things where you got to be cognizant of it. A lot of times I'll look when I pull out somebody's credit report, they have stuff in dispute. I'll hesitate, even if I get DU approval, desktop underwrite approval, I'll kind of hesitate to at least give them a heads up like, hey, I'm giving you an approval, but, this could change things. So we want to make sure that we, address that right now,
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's something I just want to bring up because I feel like a lot of times when people are working on their credit or people who are, let's say their credit is not where it needs to be right now, one of the first things they do is they try to dispute things and really it doesn't give a true indication of where you are when it comes to your credit and your, where you're at on that home path as far as being able to buy a home. So, yeah.
Yeah. Disputes are a headache.
Yeah.
And just like credit repair is a headache. It's funny because I have an agent right now that sends me leads and all the leads that they send me have credit issues. So.
Yeah, man. That's tough.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not credit repair.
Yeah. We're definitely not credit repair people. I feel like
there is a difference. I can advise you on credit, but I'm not here to help you fix your credit in a sense, right?
Yeah.
There are people out there that specialize in helping you fix your credit.
Correct.
And so it's that's just like I'm not a real estate agent. I can help you answer some questions maybe here and there, but I can't go and write a contract for you. There's just we all kind of work together. But we also have different jobs.
Correct. Yeah, that is a fact. I mean, I can't tell how many times I get questions on things that I'm like, that's not my scope.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we do have pretty sound information, pretty sound knowledge of and I think a lot of stuff is.
But if it don't,
common
the
sense,
thing is if it doesn't work.
Correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good until it don't work. And so your advice is like, because you never know. That's the strange thing about, well, not strange, but that's the thing about credit. Like, speaking of credit, have you ever met somebody who works in that area? You know somebody who works for FICO?
Nah.
Like, who are these people?
Yeah, nah. I remember you talking about that before. Nah, I've never met anybody who works at like any of the major credit bureaus. Like, hey, I work at Equifax or TransUnion or Experian. Like, nah.
No. As many applications as we do.
Yeah.
I ain't never met nobody.
Right. You would think somebody just bring somebody in from there and have a conversation about it.
Right.
Yeah,
can I get somebody who work at FICO to come, join the podcast? Come on. Right. Let the people know. Like, what are y'all turn times? Yeah. Yeah. Like, how fast do you process these disputes? Yeah. Like, what is going on? But anyway, yeah, credit is a different beast. Like, there's so many different nuances when it comes to credit. So I can tell you or help you in one area, right? But there can be other reportings that are happening at the same time that can affect your credit. Yeah. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Like, there's I think 5 different breakdowns. One is like the balances you owe. Yeah. One is timeliness of paying it on time, right? Yeah. One is the length of time you've had credit open. Yeah. One is like a balance of different credit types. So like whether you have loans and
installment loans, revolving.
Correct, right? Yeah. And there's another one. What's the last one? I can't think of the last one. There's one more. You can Google it. Like it's very
the 5 major that you're evaluated or viewed.
And so if you're paying things on time, but then you have a collection hit, what you think gonna happen?
Yeah. Yeah. That's only a percentage of.
Correct.
Basically, it's like everyone has seen like a pie graph before. So,
it's a pie graph. Exactly.
You can count
late payments count for 35%.
Yeah, these they just break it down so you can be performing well in one area, but underperforming in another area, and so therefore
I think it's inquiries. Is that one? Something like that.
I'm not sure. I think so too. I'm not sure.
Like how many times you apply? I think the last one is inquiries. Like how many times you apply for?
Sounds right.
Yeah. But there's so many different things that are components when it comes to credit. So it may not be a situation where you can go pay off a debt and then all of a sudden your credit goes from 500 to 700 just because you paid off what you messed up, right? Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
That's the conversation I have.
It's kind of like your GPA. If everybody was in school, pretty much everybody went to some sort of school nowadays. There are some that fell off, but think about your GPA. When you messed your GPA up, could you turn that 3.0 into a 4.0 just because you got a couple A's? No. I feel like your GPA was kind of getting you ready for credit, right?
In a sense, I guess. That's the conversation I've had too with a lot of people over the years. It's like they'll come to you when their credit is underperforming. Like I said, something maybe like the 580s or whatever. And they're like, hey, if I go pay this off, will I have a 700? I'm like, no. Because you're just doing what you agreed to do from the beginning to begin with. So you're not going to get, like
a pat on the back
or get like a surge in your credit score because you're doing what you initially signed up to do anyway.
Exactly.
The way you have improvement on your credit is going above and beyond.
Correct.
Right? So borrowing, like she said, borrowing, lower amounts and not using credit,
Correct.
Paying off your account or having minimal balances, having less inquiries. Like those are all the different factors that's going to increase your score. So you have to be doing all of those things to get your score really at its optimum. But if you're just like, hey, you forever been later, you forever been maxing out this credit card and tomorrow you pay it off, you're not going to get 120 points added to your credit because you paid off a card that you were supposed
agreed to pay off. Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So just understanding that, that's how credit works, I think does go a long way. And very similar, like you said, as far as school, because you can fail all your quizzes, all your homework, and then get an A, and then you're not going to have a 4.0 GPA. That's not how it works.
No.
You may be lucky getting a high 1, maybe 2.0, because of that, but you're still not going to get exceeding when it comes to your grades because you've shown everything else to be underperforming when it comes to that. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's something important that we shared. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's one thing that I talk about with every client is credit.
Yeah.
Like unicorns in my world is somebody who has an 800.
Yeah.
Now I don't see them too often.
Yeah,
you ever seen a unicorn?
Nah, I never seen no unicorn. I see some 800 credit scores, but I didn't see no unicorn. Yeah, I know what you mean when it comes to that, though, for sure.
Yeah. So what you got coming up, going on, coming up this weekend?
Shoot, this weekend, not much, man. I was gonna go. So I was supposed to be out of town. I'm supposed to be getting back today, and then my son, he has his last game of the year on Saturday, so we'll obviously be there for that. And then I was gonna go to Wine Fest. So Wine Fest is in downtown Norfolk. It's always gonna be a good time. Not with my wife, with her still kind of, I mean, she's better now, but just immediately going back out there in that environment with all those people, it's probably not the most smartest thing to do.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're not gonna do that, but we'll probably go back to the pumpkin patch. I'm thinking, that morning after Niles game, and kind of, like I said, I feel like we kind of cut the kids short a little bit because I had to go. I went to golfing for my buddy's birthday that day, so this time we'll probably just go out there and have a good time and not have that any restraints on time.
Yeah.
And then after that, this weekend we don't have very much planned at all. I mean, that's pretty much it. One of my buddies, I shot him out. My buddy Jerome, him and his wife, I mentioned him on the podcast before. Him and his wife are expecting 2 kids, right? So they got pregnant recently, and they were looking to have a boy this time, and they found out they're having twins.
What?
So they found out they're having twins, and it's going to be a boy and a girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he is going to have a boy, but the crazy thing about it is that the babies came early. So the babies are here already.
Oh.
They came this past Sunday. Yeah, I talked to him.
Oh.
Yeah, she's at 32 weeks, so they were, very premature. But they're healthy. They're in in ICU, I think it is what it's called. What is it called? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. But
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So they're there, and he told me that they're doing well. His wife is doing well. But it's funny. I talked to him today, actually on the way here. Because I asked him, I was like, hey, man, because they had the baby shower planned for this weekend on Sunday. I was like, hey, man, because you guys had the babies, are y'all going to I'm assuming y'all not having a baby shower anymore. He was like, nah, bro, we having that baby shower still. He's like, man, we spent a whole bunch of money. I guess they have like a big thing or whatever, like it's catered and all that. They had already put money towards it. So he was like, yeah, we still having that joint, bro. I was like, sure. He was like, yeah, man.
Because they're not in the NICU 24/7. You can't be, I don't think.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like they are, though. I feel like the kids, from my understanding, they are like.
Don't they have other children?
Yeah. We talking about the parents not in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know this parent. Talking about him and his wife. They're not there 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he's talking about the children themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, they have to.
Of course, yeah.
Probably for the next, till term, 36 weeks, 30 something. Yeah. That's usually how it works. I had a friend who, she delivered early and her baby was in NICU in 3 months. They were in there. So she delivered at like 27 weeks or something like that. Okay. And had to stay full time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Usually that's what they do to make sure that they're healthy in their lungs. Ultimately, it's the lung development that they're waiting on because your lungs don't fully develop it. So
certain time, yeah.
The last few weeks of pregnancy.
Yeah. So he's they're having their baby shower, so we'll probably pop by there on Sunday, still as well. So
that's pretty nice.
It. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. What you got going?
So I'm getting my hair braided. So excited.
Okay.
Yeah, so that that in Black girl world that takes all day. So I'll be doing that on Sunday. And then this Saturday, I don't know. I've actually been contemplating what I want to do because I'm kind of stuck. I have a teenager, a 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old, right? My teenager and my 9-year-old, they want to go do scary stuff, right? I'm okay with the teenager doing it.
Have y'all gone to Busch Gardens?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Because I still can't, I don't know, like.
It's coming up. I think it ends soon, don't it? Don't it end like right after Halloween, like in a week or two? Okay.
So I feel like a certain type of way because I don't know if I really want to let my 9-year-old go, but like she's like really, really wanting to go. So I'm all about like, okay, should I let her make this decision? Should I make it for her? I don't really know what to do. I know Carter ain't messing with it. So it's kind of like strange being in this predicament where I have these different ages that want to do different things.
Yeah.
And trying to accommodate everybody,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what I'm going to do. I was thinking maybe like Hunt Club Farm, something like that.
Yeah, Hunt Club Farm.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that, and then
cool.
I can take the kid, Carter over to the rides, and then maybe let Jada try the hayride, the haunted hayride as one thing to see if she even can get through that, as opposed to taking her to a whole park at Busch Gardens. I don't know. So I've really been trying to figure it out. And she seems to be not scared or anything. And it's total opposite of me. So it's like, I don't want to install like my fear of Halloween and all the scary stuff into her. You know what I mean? Sure. I don't mess with it. Don't put me in a haunted house. I don't want to be scared. I remember one time when I was in college, I was in my apartment, and at the time my boyfriend was there, and I had walked in the house and had walked past my guest bedroom, and I had walked into my bedroom, and I didn't see him. So I turned around, and the rest of my house was dark, pitch black, except for my bedroom, right? Mm-hmm. So I go back towards the living area to try and see where he was at, because I was like, where are you? He wasn't saying nothing. I'm calling his name. And he jumped out of the guest bedroom, and I fainted. I hit the floor because I was so scared. Wow. So when I say I don't like being scared, do not scare me. Wow. Don't play.
Yeah, I like scary stuff, man. I mean, I've always like, it's like that thin line. I always like to teeter that line. It just reminds me. I mean, it's kind of reminds me like roller coasters, right? So it's kind of like I know I'm gonna be scared getting on them. I have that feeling in my gut, but I still like it a little bit.
The thrill.
Yeah, the thrill of it. So it's like, that's how it is when it comes to like scary movies or just being like in a scary situation. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to be scared, but I still like that little adrenaline rush, that thrill, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
speaking of thrill, did you watch Love is Blind?
Yeah. So Scott.
Did you see the thrill that I'm referring to?
The thrill. Which thrill? What you talking about?
So you probably didn't see it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't say too much. So
I know that's why I had to,
So I seen two things. I seen because they had 2 episodes that came out yesterday.
Right.
And so I was able to watch 1 episode, and I was able to watch maybe 10 to 15 minutes of the second episode, and I fell asleep. But the episode I saw, it was Tim, and I forget the girl's name, but Tim was the dude from he went to Norfolk State. He broke up with her. And it was crazy because, I remember when he was asking her dad for her hand in marriage, and the conversation he had, it was so beautiful that I got teary eyed.
Yeah,
and I don't normally people who know
Alex too.
Alex, okay. Yeah. For people who know me, I don't cry off of TV stuff. Now I am an emotional guy. I cry for real life stuff, like my kids, my family, but stuff on TV, I never really get emotional from it. Especially not that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so what he said was really heartfelt. I'm like, oh man, I really am hopeful for their situation. And then 2 days later, buddy broke up with her on some, stuff that was communication, related. You know what I mean? It wasn't to me like it was detrimental to the situation, something that, at least couldn't have had a little bit further work done into it, right?
Right.
Yeah, he broke up with her. He was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to ever see you again. So I was like, wow. So that was one thing that I saw.
And you could tell that they're both stubborn, because she said the same exact thing. When they said, are you going to go talk to him? Both of them was like, ain't nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, when somebody, I don't even think that's stubbornness, though. If somebody tells you to your face that they don't ever want to see you again, I don't know too many people who's going to make an effort to go see that person again.
Yeah,
I don't even think that's considered stubbornness. True. I just think that's like, hey, they let me know where they at.
Right.
So that's where they at.
Yeah.
And I'm going to act accordingly. It's not like me saying, hey, I'm just not going to do something because of this, whatever. There's no compromise in that.
That's true.
But, that happened with them. And then the other couple was the couple that I picked, with the wife who has family in San Diego. I guess it was kind of foggy, but it looks like they were having their first argument. This was something that they haven't had any type of drama or any type of disagreements through the first couple of episodes. But I think he said that one of his exes messaged him on Instagram, and he was telling her that he just liked the photo or liked the message. And then, so that was the conversation they had. And she was like, why would you do that? Why didn't you just tell her you moved on, blah, 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 or whatever, right? She's like, that just leaves the door open or whatever, right? So they had a conversation in there, and it seemed like they kind of had it resolved a little bit when they went to this party where they meet up with everybody, right? And then when they're in the party, he's having a they're all it's him and her, and then it's another couple, the couple with the whole what do you call it, sperm donor couple, And so they're having a conversation with them.
Ashley
His story,
and Tyler.
Ashley and Tyler. So then his story, the guy's story changes totally in front of them. He's like, yeah, I've responded back like, hey, da. So she's like, hold on, you just told me something totally different outside. And then so I think she was like, let me see your phone or something. I can't remember what it was. I got my TV low. And I just know that she like walked away and she got mad about it. And
So
he was
she said to let her see the phone. He said that he didn't have the phone on him.
Okay.
And then he offered to go get it. And
Go ahead. Wait.
He didn't go get it.
Okay.
He didn't refuse to go get it, but I think she just was like, well, kind of like the gesture. It was like a gesture like, okay, well, regardless of that, you said this an hour ago.
Yeah.
Like, just the conversation continued. But how do you feel about that?
I think the girl, what's the black couple that you said with the host person?
Marissa?
What's her, oh no, the black
Melissa
couple.
and Ramsey?
Not Melissa and Ramsey.
Ashley Taylor?
Ashley. So, because they were the ones that were sitting down with me.
Yeah.
I feel like I couldn't remember who was talking because, again, just a disclaimer, when I watch the show, I watch it at nighttime, me and my wife do, and the kids are not too far in their rooms or whatever, so we try to have the TV kind of low, I guess you could say a little bit. So I got the captions on. So sometimes when these conversations are going back and forth, it's like I'm reading the captions, I'm trying to understand what's going on because the TV's low. So we leave the screen. Sometimes I'm not 100% certain on certain things. But I think she's the one that said it. I feel like what she said summed it up perfectly. She was like, it seemed like they had a conversation outside that he got comfortable with, I guess, because he's buddies with Tyler, I believe. And so he got loose and started talking like how he really, like what really happened versus he lied to her outside just to make sure, or have her, feel a certain way or make it look like he did something honorable when that's not even the way that she would have felt to be. Like she would have wanted him to address it a certain way. So being that he got in front of people, he said that versus what he maybe did. So I don't even know what the truth is as far as what he really did.
Yeah, I was right there.
But it just seemed like I kind of, when she explained it, I can't remember how the word she used, but I felt like that's exactly what it was. Like he did one thing or said one thing, but then once he got in front of another crowd, he said something that would make that sound good to their ears. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And, as far as what actually happened, I don't know, but I think that's what it was. I mean, I think he messed up. He should just told the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I will say this. I don't think that, and this is me, my opinion. I don't think that the dude is like cheating on her and like trying to like, play the field in that regard. But I do feel that he should have just been honest with her. And I feel like sometimes what people do is they don't want to, if there's something that's borderline that they know that they don't know how the other person is going to handle it, they're going to lie about it and try to appease the other person. And I feel like that's what he did in that scenario versus just being truthful about it. And, however she feel about it, that's unfortunately what it is. You know what I mean? You learn how that person will want you to handle those situations moving forward, and that's what y'all build upon. But sometimes people lie to try to make it sound good.
White lies.
Yeah, they try to make it sound good or what they think would sound good, and it just makes it worse. So
Yeah. I think that he was wrong for telling her. I think he was wrong for telling her that he only liked the picture. Because obviously he didn't just like it, right? But I could also understand him wanting to table it because she was like, to me, I'm not that something like that's not going to have me emotionally like all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not going to break down and I'm not going to cry and I'm not going to, let it, something like that ruin my night because an ex text you. Like, y'all just got together.
Yeah.
Like that. There's going to be, for the first 6 months, there's going to be somebody who reaches out because they don't know your situation. If he's truly not talking to anybody, how would they know about your new situation without reaching out, right? Yeah. You have to give that time. That's why usually, right, when outside of the show, usually you date. So then that way you have time to, stop all these different communications.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to get a girlfriend and then as soon as you have a girlfriend, you're going to send this mass text message saying, hey, I'm in a relationship. That's not how it goes. Yeah. Right? So, yeah, that's what I think about that. But he was wrong for lying about it. Yeah, or not really, right, or not really like telling that full truth right then and there if that's what she wanted in that moment.
Correct.
It sounds like to me he was just trying to like calm her down because they were getting ready to be amongst people.
Correct. Correct.
So I don't know. So what you think about Ashley and Tyler? She accepted him for who he was.
I guess, I mean, again, I don't say too much because you've seen more than I have. So they didn't really, I guess they had a small conversation about it on the couch. Like, she just said, I'm going to take it, quote unquote, hour by hour, is what she said.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So,
but to me, that's accepting, right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like that's just saying, I don't know how to feel or what I'm going to do. So, hey, I'm just going to just take it hour by hour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, that's how I look at it. Like, I'm not saying, hey, it's a hard no. And hey, I'm just going to have to cope with the situation. It's just like, hey, I'm just going to have to take this minute by minute, hour by hour and figure out what the future has, basically. You know?
Yeah. But I feel like if it's not a no, it's a yes somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
She could have said.
That's what you look at it too.
She could have said,
Yeah.
Nah, you got these kids? No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. But then what more came out, though, is that what I learned is on this episode is that I guess again, you know, how we hear stuff, you don't hear the full story. So you assume you kind of put the pieces together yourself without knowing the information. So it sounded like it's two women that are together. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that. I assumed, I don't know, I just assumed there was a couple maybe who couldn't get married. I didn't know it was two women, right? Mm-hmm. So it's two women. And then that makes me think like, okay, well then how did
have truth?
Yeah, but then how did they like? Because I'm thinking like, okay, so then what did you have sex with one of the women to get like? Did you have the one that carried the babies? How did she get pregnant? You see what I'm saying? Like, did they do like the turkey baster type of situation, or did they like did the partner allow you to have sex with her so they can, you know what I mean? So then it just led me to think about things like a little bit better than where they were, but still a lot of. And then she asked them like, "Hey, have they seen your face before?"
And she said, he said no.
He said no, but he said it like in a hesitant way.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, there's no way. I just, if you're friends with these people, because he said he was like a friend that reached out to you that was in need. It just didn't make sense to me. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
That doesn't make sense.
Because normally sperm donors, you don't know the person.
Yeah.
And then to me, if you're giving somebody sperm, that's not the part that you need financial help for. Because that's what he made it seem like. He made it seem like, hey, you know, they were having issues getting pregnant, right? Or
I thought you did have to pay for.
You do, but what I'm saying, by him giving the sperm, right, that's not cutting the cost of it, right? The whole procedure and having actual, have the baby put into you and all that. That's what I'm trying to say. Unless he just had sex with her and got her pregnant. You see what I'm saying? So, like, think about it. If you were to try to get pregnant in that way by a sperm donor, right, it's going to cost money, regardless if you know the person or not, right? So by him, what is he helping in that way? He's just, now you know the person who's giving the sperm. They could easily go to the doctor and have they have, from my understanding, they have people's sperm frozen, at doctors where you can go get it, I guess put in you or whatever. But, he offered, I don't know, I mean, he made it seem like he offered and gave the sperm, but like, did he offer financially, or did he just, like, by giving the sperm is not really going to help with the financial cost of it, is what I'm saying. Because you still got to pay and do the whole process of having the implementation and all that. So that's what I'm trying to say. That didn't make sense to me by him saying like, hey, he basically made it seem like he was doing her a favor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's not really doing a favor, because if you're doing her a favor.
See, if I was Ashley, I would have asked for the paperwork.
Yeah.
Show me the paperwork.
Yeah. And then, like I said, and this is the way he answered that.
Have an agreement.
And the way he answered that question, just when she was like, have they seen your face before? He was like, no. I'm like, that just seemed like cap. That just don't seem like that's real. If you know the person.
That's your friend.
That's your friend. And you gave them your sperm to have 3 kids, but you never seen them. They don't know your face. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Doesn't make any sense. So that's why I think she know that, but that's why I said when you said that she said hour by hour, because I feel like she's just waiting for more information to really make her decision. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So. Speaking of crazy stuff, right? I'm scrolling through Instagram. That's what I do at night. Like instead of watching TV, I'll scroll till I get sleepy. Usually I get past like about 10 scrolls, right?
Okay.
And then I get sleepy. But so I was scrolling and I saw this guy. He was drinking and he was driving a Power Wheel, got pulled over by the police, and got a DUI.
A Power Wheel? You talking about like
You remember Power Wheels when we was growing up. Now they got like Lamborghinis and
but how is he even fitting in or fitting? I don't know.
You don't really fit, but you're like not walking. It's a way to like drive around,
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's like mini, like.
I guess if you're behind a motorized vehicle or intoxicated, I guess they don't specify what kind of vehicle. I guess that may be labeled or deemed as a vehicle. I guess I don't know. Because I know you can get one on a scooter. Like I've actually seen. I remember I used to see people down at the oceanfront who would be drunk, get on the scooter and go bar hopping or just be driving around, and they would be reckless with it, and you could hurt somebody doing that. So that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense in that way.
But scooters can get up to 45 miles per hour or something like that, 30 miles.
I'm not sure.
A power wheel is not. You can literally put your hand on a power wheel.
Correct.
And stop it from moving.
Correct. Correct.
I
guess that was trying to teach that person a lesson, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he can get a lawyer and try to fight it.
Yeah.
And see, I'm sure they'll break down that particular verbiage and see what is what.
I wonder how the law is written. Because obviously for it to be charged, there must be something written that says that. I know that you can definitely get a ticket driving a boat, driving a car, a scooter, a moped, things like that. But a power wheel, you reach it.
I'm still stuck on the point, because I have little motorized power wheels for my kids.
Right.
I'm still stuck on how does an adult.
Maybe he was little. I don't know how big he was. He could have been 5'5", 130 pounds. You never know.
Right. I guess that's true. I'm just imagining a person that's an adult. Even if they're a small adult, it just seems like it's almost impossible, to actually do that.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It may be, Things, listen.
Because I got my son.
Make things happen.
Yeah, you're right. My son, I'm thinking of one of the vehicles we have, little big wheel, power wheel things we got, there's no way. I'm just there's no way that I or even a small adult that I know that can fit on something like that.
My daughter, my 9-year-old, when we first got here, we got her for Christmas a dune buggy looking thing. It's a power wheel, but it looks like a dune buggy, right? And so it's like a bucket seat. The legs are a little bit extended, and it can fit 2 people. Back then, when I first moved here, I was little. I was 140 pounds of smalls, tiny. I could get in that with her for sure, because at the time she was only 2 or 3. Yes. So she could barely reach the pedal. So I know for sure that if you're small enough, you can fit into these little vehicles.
Gotcha.
But sometimes, like you said, it may be where if you're bigger, right, you can barely get the thing to move if you're a big person, right? Correct. It won't even move fast.
Correct.
But yes, you can in some of them. They didn't say which power wheel, didn't describe what it looked like or anything like that. There are some that are smaller than others, some bigger. But he got the DUI, ultimately.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching the podcast. You can follow us on social media at Let's Talk BSPD. And you can follow me personally at I am Sofia KB.
Yep. And you can follow me at Bryan, BRYAN _Royster.
All right. We will see you next week.
See you next week.